I was just thinking the other day how it's a little bit of a bummer that we do see some of the same faces over and over again a lot of the times here at the Brightworks, and I think today I've got a match that has a complete roster of new faces, new friends joining the Beyond All Reason family. So let's give them a warm welcome as we see exactly what happened today on Baryon Tar Lake. It's one of the interesting maps of all time, certainly for this big tar pool over here. No, that's not water, it's tar, T-A-R. And it slows down tanks quite a bit, so it should be fun to see exactly what goes down here as our blue team leader goes ahead and gets into a bot lab. Probably a good start right here because, of course, again, going to be a little bit quicker moving over those tar fields and maybe making it a little bit easier to maneuver the army in and out here. A commander that goes by the name of Felms. All the way on the other side, spawning likewise on the front lines here as a Cortex commander and also going into bots. Admos going to be showing us what he's got here. 30 true scale and hailing from Canada. Going to be going up against our American leader here over on the blue. Baryon Tar Lake is also pretty cool because it means, it's one of those maps that's perfectly mirrored, so it's a perfect matchup between everybody here, but it does mean that the asymmetry comes from the placement of the different true skill values of players, right? So in this case, the blue player going to be all the way on the northern side, going to be going up against the maroon, which should be a decently skilled player here, although certainly not all the way up there as much as Admos is. Not going to be the end of the world, certainly, but it is something to consider, right? Consider balancing your team out as far as maybe taking a look around the map, seeing where your opponents are playing, and maybe shuffling more or less forces in that direction. Seems like a fairly decent spread right here for the blue team. Pretty much going to be, yeah, it looks like the weakest lane right here is going to be Tony Triple Shot, but that's going to be going up against H-Bomb. I say this with a grain of salt because, of course, sometimes true skill values, especially one true skill value, I'm not even sure how you get one true skill value. For some reason, I thought that was impossible, but anyways, it's certainly possible, I suppose, but definitely impressive. Impressive in some kind of way. Pawns and ticks moving across the battlefield here. We're trying to deflect as much of this aggression as possible. We do have a couple of rovers already across the map. Going to start blowing apart the economy right here. And right out the gate, beautiful aggression from the blue team. Definitely hats off to the blue team for managing to get into the backline here. Well, we take down a wind turbine. We actually don't get very many metal extractors here. At the very least, we get another one over on this side and the constructor, and that is huge. Shutting down the constructor effectively denies this metal extractor here as well. And all is going to be okay here on the southern side, or stabilized at the very least on the southern side. We do have a very, non-existent commander move out here for Cito. Instead of sending the commander forward here, opting to keep it in base and use it as a little bit of effective build power. I think that's a little bit of a mistake. I think this commander should probably be marching forward as quickly as possible. White Dragon going to be doing likewise the same thing. Well, sort of the opposite of what the green commander is going for here. Moving the commander forward and using it as sort of a point of defense to rally the troops behind. A couple of those blitzes trying to sneak around. Okay, yeah, we're looking for openings here. We're looking for any effective opening we can find. Blue commander has been shared a transport and is making very effective use of it. Has transported the commander forward to grab these metal extractors, setting up a little static defense line. Got to be so careful about that. If you overextend right here, you can accidentally get flanked really, really hard by different lanes without really having to commit all too many resources. Means you can put yourself in a really tricky situation if you overstep your bounds right there. But certainly locking down these two metal extractors right here, gaining their 4.6 metal per second is going to be wonderful for Felms, especially because of this right here. You can see we've dropped a constructor, pardon me, to these metal extractors to claim them as well. Eventually going to lock those down and secure the metal economy firmly here for the blue player. Gamer Guy 69 is quite nice, but I'm sure this run by isn't going to feel quite so nice. There we go. Wind turbines falling down, metal extractors popping here as well. Blitz is going on a rampage here by the Parn Star. It's like Pawn Stars, right? You guys remember Pawn Stars, right? Everybody trying to make a deal. Trying to remember what their theme song was, but I just can't remember it. Anyway, ooh, nice Janus connection right there. Manages to blow up most of those blitzes right there. At the very least, scuff up the armor plating. Ooh, okay. Secondary missiles gonna fire away and take down another one. Oh, but they still get into the backline. Tons and tons of damage right here. Most importantly, those wind turbines falling, but yeah, more and more metal extractors going down as well. One more metal extractor goes down before that Janus finally manages to clean this mess up. We will start rebuilding that immediately, but it means the Gamer Guy is in desperate need of some energy right now. Wind speed is quite high, so building some of those wind turbines is not going to be a bad idea, but it is certainly on the back foot right now for the Seafoam Green Commander. Nice Deegan right there from the White Dragon. Manages to blow up a huge portion of the army right here for Cito. That commander's looking real low. Down to 31%. Oh my. Miscontrol right here from Cito does mean that a lot of those tanks are going to fall. Blitz tanks, missile trucks, you name it. Oh no, Cito. There we go. Cito finally starts retreating right here. Have to be so careful. That is a medium tank worth its chutzpah. 2 silver bars on that medium tank, and my goodness, 8% left on Cito right there. Yeah, go for the kill. Go for the kill, why not? I think we could probably kill that commander. Nicely done right there by the yellow commander. Managing to take down Cito's commander here, using the light laser on the commander, and managing to keep it all safe. Ooh, be careful not to degun that wreck, though. You do need it. Another commander trade up on this northern side. Looks like we do have the lavender and the red commanders trading out against each other, but there's already a resbot right here for Admos to eat up all that wreckage, meaning, of course, that this is going to be a huge advantage for the red player, as suddenly we're going to have tons and tons and tons and tons of metal. Do we have a way to spend it, though? We need to start putting down... Oh, we're going for build power. I was going to say maybe going for some advanced solar panels. However, I guess we are full on energy here as well, so not going to be the end of the world. At the very least, we can pump out a few more of those constructors, be a little more greedy. Chaz 706 fending off the blue army as best as possible. Felm's going for a forward bot lab here. Always risky, of course, because that forward bot lab does mean there's no production in the backline, so if there's any kind of a run by, any slip-throughs for your teammates, it means that you just outright lose all of your backline economy. It can be really, really painful. But it can also be a worthwhile trade, right? The trade-off being that your units hit the front line a whole lot quicker than your opponent means that the metal advantages that they get are delayed before they hit the front line, and oftentimes can buy you enough time to make this really, really efficient. Still, though, going to be hard to out-efficiency the amount of metal that just went back to the red commander right here. Admos inheriting 2,000, what would it be, 2,500 metal? Yeah, tremendous right there. White Dragon, in a little bit of trouble. We're sort of outstaying our welcome here. LLT will be good enough to deal with these blitzes right here. The LLT combined with the Calm laser cannon. And there we go. Blitzes do fall down right here, but the White Dragon needs to get out of there. We do have a mine layer here, which is quite interesting. Maybe we're thinking about some of those light landmines. We've seen quite a lot of blitzes, so I wouldn't be surprised if maybe that's the idea here. But definitely reclaiming a whole bunch of this at the front lines is going to be very, very important. Twitter Bird using that Lightning Claw, blasting apart Dragon's Claw, pardon me, to blast apart as much of this as possible. Resbot falls right there, and that's quite nice. Yeah, Thug's going to be decent, but outranged by the Beamer turret. So are the Rocketeers here as well, worth noting. And you know what? The Beamer defense holds. The superpower of the Beamer, of course, being that it just barely outranges Rocketeers, meaning that you can use it effectively as an anti-Rocketeer device. Lightning Claw up here as well. Dragon's Claw, pardon me. I call it the Lightning Claw. You know what I mean. Pop-up lightning turret right here, blasting apart a whole bunch of these aggravators. And those will go down extremely quickly. Very, very nicely here. Extremely efficient from the blue team. Huge metal investment, but that investment only goes so far as we can actually manage to spend it. There we are. Okay, we've been handed out a T2 constructor. These have been dispensed by the orange commander, Sancustego. Yeah, there we go. The orange commander here, who's going to be passing out T2 like it's candy to the rest of the red team, trying to keep them all well invested. The efficiency of those Beamer turrets is tremendous. Lightning turret doing a fabulous job as well. My goodness, one tower goes down right there for all of this devastation. Beautiful, beautiful use case right there for static defense. There are golden opportunities where the static defense in this game can be extremely useful. That was certainly one of them. Yeah, H-Bomb was thinking about a gauntlet right here. Definitely not the right idea. We've been thinking about gauntlets quite a lot here, actually. Apparently we've invested quite a lot of metal into this gauntlet as well. Gonna be trying to go for the gauntlet here, certainly showing that maybe this is certainly a little bit of a newer commander. We definitely need to start investing in more energy. If you're out there, H-Bomb, and you're listening to this, one of the things you should probably get invested in is some wind turbines. Sending one of these constructors around. You've already got the build power. You might as well send some constructors around. Go build a whole bunch of wind turbines, and you're gonna be in a great spot. Meanwhile, while I was busy coaching H-Bomb, we do have a big old medium tank and incisor run by over here. Well, you know what? I say big. It's not really that tremendous of a force. Ooh, a nice Janus connection right there. Huge Janus connection right there. Shuts down two of those incisors and scratches up the armor on all the rest of those quite nicely. Are we going to be able to stop the other ones? No, not quite. Into the back line they go. It's not a crazy investment of metal. Just a couple of medium tanks and a couple of light tanks. But definitely enough to do a huge amount of damage. Yeah, metal extractors are falling left, right, and center. Build power is about to go down here as well. Oh, tanks are still at the last limb. Can we get a reclaim? Can we get a reclaim? Oh, I don't think we have a reclaim. Oh, no. No reclaim right here. It means that these medium tanks will get the opportunity to keep firing. But at the very least, the Janus eventually saved the day right now, as this commander has been completely wiped off the map. My goodness. We are looking very shy on the southern side here as the dark green commander is tapped out of the game, no longer willing to give it any sort of a fight. Big old air clash over here as well. These bombers have been a menace on the side of the red team. Eventually going to be shot down right here. Anti-air turrets to try and blast those apart as well. They do scout this forward T2 lab. That's a really important scout right now, actually. Essentially tells you that these Rocketeers are the last of the units right now for the blue commander, so we can afford to be really aggressive. Chaz, that is, can afford to be really aggressive because we've seen the T2 lab. We have seen the T2 lab. Yeah, there we go. Once you see that T2 lab, you know that your opponent isn't spending any metal on reinforcements right here, and it means you can start to get aggressive. Now, Felms, anticipating that, has started to bring construction turrets forward to try and pump out some more of these units right here. You can see we are still pumping out Rocketeers, but that T2 lab has come up, and as soon as the first couple of hounds start to hit the battlefield, this efficiency is going to go through the roof right now for the blue commander. Means that the red team is on a time limit right now. We do have T2 mexes coming up very slowly right here. In the backline, we are starting to upgrade, but my goodness, it has taken a while to get those mexes up and running. So much was lost on the front line. I think that's why those mexes took so long to get up and running. We do finally eat up the T1 lab, which is probably the right decision. Those advanced mexes can generate enough money to build a T1 lab in a heartbeat. Gauntlet here. Dumb firing over here for some position, or some reason. Not entirely sure what the purpose of this gauntlet is, I suppose, but H-Bomb trying their very best to put together exactly what's happening this match. Couple of steps behind the rest of their team, but maybe looking at this replay will help them out along the learning curve. It's just math, purely mathematical. You look at the investment here, 1,250 metal in static T1 defense, capable of blasting away at virtually nothing at this point in the game. Not going to do very much damage to T2. Not really going to do enough damage to even T1 to really justify it on a T2 economy, or going up against a T2 economy. It's just a bad investment. And I think H-Bomb's going to have to learn that the hard way. Hounds here are going to be quite good, though. And we are building quite a lot of them. Sending them to the front line, and they are in their Gauss mode as well, which means that they're going to do not as much damage per volley, but they're going to fire those volleys a little bit quicker, and their travel speed, the actual travel velocity of that volley, is quite a bit faster as well there. Makes them a really ideal assault unit because, of course, being able to hit your shots is just as important as taking a whole bunch of them. Yeah, those hounds have hit the front lines over here on the northern side as well. That timer has run out for the red team on the northern side. We either need a full-fledged T2 transition, which we can technically afford. We do have the T2 constructor having already upgraded all these metal extractors back here. Well, all two of the metal extractors back here. Means we could technically go into a T2 economy. We kind of have the metal for it, but more and more T1 continues to roll out to the field. And Chaz 706, if we don't make a transition right now, is never going to have the time to. Losing the mexes on the front. Thug's not going to cut it anymore, not against the hounds. Here's what that mine layer's been good for. Tons and tons and tons of light mines. Light mine's actually fairly effective against these hounds here. Mines in general, very effective. You have to be very careful about using them, though. You can imagine parking your entire army over a bunch of landmines that you've set up. It can be quite dangerous indeed. Yeah, nice jump right here, though, from the yellow commander. Yeah, catches all those Janus tanks, and those really were the big threat here. I mean, the hounds are dangerous for sure, but not going to be nearly as dangerous as those Janus, at least in one big volley anyways. Commander here to reclaim a whole bunch of the wreckages. 3,000 metal worth of reclaim right there. H-Bomb should definitely get in on that party. Try and reclaim as much as possible. This commander is standing idle right here. Oh no, the T2 have hit the battlefield, and that means you need to either cloak your commander or get it off the front lines. Commander is just too frail to keep up with the pace of T2 as far as the damage scaling goes, as far as the speed of everything goes. Yeah, commanders just don't cut it anymore. Agitator here not getting any value either. Always worth remembering that you can, of course, reclaim a whole bunch of this. So if you ever build an agitator and regret it, you come to think that maybe that 1,000 metal might be better spent elsewhere, you can, of course, go ahead and dissect that agitator, funnel its parts into other projects, and oftentimes it can be the basis of going for, say, an upgraded T2 economy. Surprised by the lack of aggression right here with these hounds on the southern side. The purple commander has a tremendous army right here. I'm surprised we're not using it to do a little bit more damage. Laying on the pressure while your T2 transition still has caught your enemy off guard. Definitely viable. We are still streaming out those hounds from the backlines here. We'll love to see a little bit of an injection of maybe a couple of welders, maybe just a couple of sharpshooters as well. Anything to just lend a little bit more width to the army composition can be really valuable here. There you go. You can see Felms doing it, proving my point by including a couple of those welders. Going to be really valuable, say for instance, against tick spam. Tick spam, one of those things that hounds don't necessarily counter very well. They're Gauss projectile, not accurate enough to deal with those, but the welder lightning bolt is basically heat-seeking. Makes them very, very good in this particular situation. Looks like a couple of hounds have been shared up here. Going to save Chaz, at least for the time being, but we need to see a T2 transition, my goodness. Far too late is the time right here for Chaz. We need those T2 transitions already underway right here. We should probably be eating up this T1 as well. Just want to prove the point right here. Here, I'll pause the game so I don't miss anything. Just to prove this point real quick, because I've been bringing it up a whole lot recently. 3,300 metal worth of T1 units right here. I mean, you can imagine that's a full-blown T2 lab and the start of a T2 economy right there. If you just eat up all these T1 units, not to mention how many T2 units you could make. I don't know the exact cost of a bunch of Sheldon, but it would certainly put you well on your way into a decent-sized Sheldon ball. Always worth eating up those T1 units once you transition into that T2 army, or once you're ready to make that transition into a T2 army. Despite overwhelming aggression in the early game here from the blue team, it really feels like they've kind of thrown that lead in all resources or all respects except for the northern side. Well, I guess the mid side is also in their favor as well. Neither team really thoroughly contesting these metal extractors, or capturing the metal extractors, I should say. Definitely Twitterbird and Irish Parnells. Thought for some reason I thought it was a play on the word of shrapnel for some reason. Irish shrapnel or something like that. No, Irish Parnells. There we go. I love that Beyond All Races is such a global community. It means I get some lovely names to try and pronounce and most often butcher. Rattlesnake up on the high ground. T2 static defense, quite a different story from the T1. Obviously, you can see how far this thing can actually fire out here, but also doing enough damage to actually justify it. Way, way easier for a Rattlesnake to find value than it is for a Gauntlet to find value. We've just gone more and more heavily into the minefield. Are you sure that's where you want to put that build power? Mr. the Parn Star decides to go for the build power directly in the middle of the minefield. Now, I don't know about you, but typically when I think about build power, I think about explosive chain reactions. And if there's one thing that tends to explosively chain react, it's got to be the landmine, right? Love this Rattlesnake on the high ground. Already getting so much value. 9 kills and counting right now. Just firing away at whatever it can. A whole bunch of bombers coming in here. We do have T2 fighters up and running, though, and you can see just how quickly those T2 fighters dismantle those bombers. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Commander falls right in the middle of the landmine field. Oh, no. At the very least, there's a few more of these left. The hounds are waddling directly over them. Hey, you know what? I mean, for what it's worth, those landmines have gotten quite a bit of value here. Oh. I love it. Ah, landmine's so effective right there. You can see shredding off a significant portion of the HP of those hounds right there. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. We're playing the landmines well right here, but there's just too many forces on the southern side. I think the trigger has been pulled right here. I think the red team is on their back foot. I don't see how this isn't a victory. If we just push for the win right here, I think the blue team has it in the bag. Yeah, hounds in mass right here. Gonna be more than enough to blast through these heavy tanks. Oftentimes can be a little bit troubling, but you've already got the numbers, so you might as well just continue to use them. Fighters coming in to shoot down the bombers. There we go. Nicely done. Fighters do counter bombers, obviously. But the fighters also, T2 fighters, going to counter the T1 fighters right here that the Hot Pink player has in order to keep all this safe. Going to mean that this air trade is relatively efficient. We have a fat boy to accentuate the damage over here on the northern side. There it goes, pointing its nozzle to the sky. It's like a trumpet bearer, right? Just sticking its trumpet up in the sky, having a wonderful time. This is what I was talking about. All that T1 gone and dusted. And what did it really get you in the end? 2 or 3 dead T2 units? Well, we are losing quite a bit to these Sheldon over here, having a wonderful time blasting away all this for free. Definitely not going to be ideal there. And there we go. Sumos on the front are quite nice. Sumo's sort of the welder equivalent right here for Cortex. Different in a lot of respects, certainly, but relatively similar role. Whoa, that fat boy explosion is painful, though. Yeah, you know, I don't mind this. Welders are so cheap, they're so disposable, and easy to throw away on the front line. I don't mind this one bit. We do have a big old tick spam coming out of the orange commander in the back line. We've gone for quite the economy to be building a tick spam. There we go. We do have a we do have a T3 lab eventually here. I was gonna say it'd be pretty bizarre to go for double APHIS economy just to pump out 3 laboratories worth of tick spam. If we're gonna go for 10 labs and maybe fill the entire map with ticks, I guess I could see that being pretty useful. But yeah, definitely 2 APHIS for 3 tick spam labs is definitely not gonna be enough to justify it, I would say. Check back in on this rattlesnake here. 61 kills and still continuing to go strong. There it goes. Make it 62. Blasting away at whatever static or non-static units it can. Lovely, lovely stuff. Pitbull here getting some value out as well. Will eventually fall, but that's not too bad. Yeah, just T1 though. Maybe hold is okay. That's exactly it. Despite all this push right here, all these T1 units are going to die so efficiently to the T2 that really we're just effectively wasting metal right now for the Seafoam Green Commander. And we're doubling down too. We've got so many Rocketeers, so many Janus, and my goodness, that Rattlesnake is getting some value out right now too. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Every opportunity that Rattlesnake gets to fire away is super valuable. It's free damage, and when in doubt, free damage is almost always the correct decision. Fat Boy continuing to shell away over here. Sumo is really resilient though. Gonna be more than powerful enough to keep up with that firepower coming out of that Fat Boy. Big old mixed ball of forces right here. We have tons of Hounds, tons of Sheldon. Actually a dream team when you put them together, because the Sheldons can fire away from long range and the Hounds can switch to their Gauss cannon. Makes them quite a bit more accurate. Means you actually can have a really, really efficient trade, just utilizing some of those minor combinations of units. Whoa, big army handover right there. 63 units handed over to Felms so that we can push this northern side. You can see we're using the alt control as well to move everything in formation. If you hold, what is the key for it? I believe it's alt and then right click should move everything in formation. Maybe I'm wrong about that though. There's some key combination in order to move everything in formation. A lot of people ask about that all the time. I don't use it a lot personally. Oftentimes it can be really, really janky, but you can do funky things like this where the whole army will move together rather than the quicker units moving ahead and the slower units moving behind. It basically, right now, is limiting it to the movement speed of the Fat Boy. I think what we really want though, ideally, would be these welders to sprint on ahead and then the Hounds to be firing away from the behind. Spybot connections right there. Beautiful Spybot connections right there. Taking out a majority of the Hounds right here in Atmos' army. The forces handed over have been more than enough to crumble on top of the Maroon Commanders right here. Beautiful, beautiful play right there. That was a nice play from the Green Commander, the Lime Green Commander, realizing, hey, you know what? With both of our armies combined into one, you're going to have more than enough force to break this line, so we'll just go ahead and hand it over and let you do your thing. It costs the entire army, but shutting down this northern production center is going to be definitely well worth it. Tons of those gunships get shot out of the sky here too. This actually means that the Cyan Commander has complete aerial control. Should be a cue that it's worth investing in a couple of bombers at this point. Usually what that means, you can imagine a couple of bombers in the back line taking down all these wind turbines, removing a couple thousand energy production from the red team's economy. Be well worth it. More rattlesnakes up on the high ground here, trying to find value wherever they can. Pitbulls as well. How many kills are we up to? 129 kills in that rattlesnake. My goodness. Very, very valuable indeed. Big bull ball. The triple B. Ooh, nice Spybot connection. Beautiful Spybot connection right there. A couple of those bulls piled on top of each other, making for very efficient trades. Gunslinger not really in their element here.
Battle paused.
Certainly going to be just fine. Oh, little pause action right there. Certainly going to be okay with you know, going up against EMP'd units, certainly, but you must imagine that gunslingers at this point in the game are going to start to lose their value quite quickly. Sharpshooters, however, are going to maintain it. The more times a sharpshooter can fire, obviously, the more value it's going to get. We do have T3 heading out to the field. Wow, I can't believe the red team is still in this. Still managing to hold on to this, even despite the tremendous push that has just gone on that northern side. The amount of overwhelming pressure on the southern side, or the middle side of the map. And you know what? I guess it's because none of these metal extractors were taken, right? Like, these were all contested hotly right here, but none of them were really taken. This rattlesnake has continued to deny so many of them. Yeah, this is really, really nice. That's the only reason this game has been so evenly matched right here between these two teams, is because of the fact that those those metal extractors that should have been for the red team were denied, but also the ones for the blue were also shut down. Interesting. Very interesting stuff indeed. Razorbacks do hit the front line like a brick truck, going and blasting apart all of this beautiful, beautiful T2 economy that Felms have been building up for so long. Spybot headed over there to try and catch these Razorback from rampaging through over here. We're moving in for the D gun of the century right now with the commander. There we go. Nice EMP right there. Shuts down those Razorback quite nicely. Follow up EMP to make sure that they stay stunned. Commander moving in for a D gun. Another Spybot to shut down some of these over here as well. Commander will go down, but not before D-gunning those Razorbacks, and at the very least relieving the T3 pressure. I'm effed, cries out the blue commander right here, is suddenly realizing way too much pressure over here. So this is the trade-off, right, of all that army moving up north and pushing really hard. Suddenly the attention was on the blue commander, and he just didn't have what it took to hold it. And the counterattack is tremendous. The red team managing to push back even through the defeat of the maroon commander on the northern side, shutting down double fusion T2 production right here for the blue commander. My goodness, what a turnaround up on the northern side. Still a tremendous amount of forces on the southern side, but ticks are already running into the back line. Oh no, no defenses right here for these ticks. Trying to pump out welders as quickly as we can. We don't have the build power in the back line here. We didn't have any production bases on the southern side, so there really was no way to get it all up and running in time. Welder out on the field, gonna be pretty good for managing those ticks for now. We'd also have support coming out from the Seafoam blue commander here. Yeah, nice powder blue commander, Irish Parnells. Gonna be sending a couple of those fiends up north, some Sheldon as well to try and help out. More T3 on the southern side though. Do we have T3 ready for the blue team? We do not. We have a T3 capable air player. T2 support right here. So we've invested way more heavily on putting units out on the field rather than going for eco. Suddenly that eco advantage from the orange commander is looking tremendous. Yeah, every second that goes by, every second that this economy continues to grow right now, we are continuing to outscale the blue team. And you can see indeed several hundred metal per second now going back towards the red team, where once it was on the behalf of the blue. Twitterbird going down right there, trying to degun down as much as possible, but the Razorback does blast it apart. A couple of tremors here, also firing away. Very nicely done. Tremors, for when you need to turn that direction into a field of glass. That's exactly what they're doing here. The AoE on their attacks is tremendous, as well as the amount of actual raw damage that they do. Both of which, very, very dangerous. Still sending T1 fighters against T2. Not my favorite thing in the world. We do have mass sharpshooter coming up right here. Sharpshooter is going to be, that was a beautiful spybot, by the way, up on this northern side. Worth acknowledging that that spybot just allowed these fiends to jump on top of all those Sheldons, shutting down this push on the northern side completely. Beautiful, beautiful play right there. A couple of rocket spiders shut down by a spybot over here as well. Lovely usage of those spybots from the blue commander. So far this game, using them to tremendous effect. Always lovely to see some good spybots. T3 transition is just too hard to beat, though. Those Razorbacks all over the map finding value. My goodness. Just goes to show the difference between T3 and T2 is comparable to the difference between T1 and T2. The level of efficiency, I do mean. Extremely destructive engines of war. Razorbacks being distributed all over the place here. Really glad to see that, actually. Spreading the love with those Razorbacks. Moving the commander up to this high ground. Oh, are we going to capture? Oh, tell me we capture. Tell me we capture. Oh. 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 He wants to. Oh, no, we need to turn off fire mode. Oh, no. There we go. Hold fire has been enabled. Now we can capture it. My goodness, that was close. Almost blew up the geothermal we were trying to capture. Resbots eating up all the wreckage over here. Tremors continuing to get value. Yeah, there they go. Hound's now falling. The tick spam has been extremely useful. And this economy continues to scale. We're going for a nuke here now. I don't mind it, yeah. Blue team, without any anti-nuke whatsoever. Playing exactly like yours truly. And this T3 is unstoppable. Razorbacks on all sides. There we go. Well, unstoppable says the sharpshooter as it laughs in the face of danger, blasting down those T3 with insane efficiency, eventually to fall to the Sheldon. Ooh, nice. Nuke across the map. Immediately anti-nukes start up in all the bases over here. Lovely reaction from the blue team here, at the very least making sure to get those anti-nukes down quickly, and they will go down quickly. Where did that nuke come from, though? Somebody else must have built one. Where is it? There it is. There it is. About halfway charged on another nuke. Means it won't have one up in time. Well, maybe it'll have one up in time before these anti-nukes are charged. Probably not, though. It's going to be a close call, but I'm pretty sure that nuke will come out just slightly after the anti-nukes are charged right here for the blue team. Still, though, a decent target right here in Gamer Guy's base. Most of this unprotected by anti-nuke. We do have a anti-nuke of some sort around here. There it is. Anti-nuke built in the laboratory here. The portable anti-nuke sent on over. That's some good teamwork right there from Twitterbird. Hey, nicely done. Sending an anti-nuke to cover your friend who didn't start up an anti-nuke immediately. Very, very good stuff. Oh, bombers. Friendly firing in the backlines here. Oh, no. Oh, no, don't tell me. Oh, this is just heinous. Ticks in the back. Well, maybe we won't need the bombers. Well, okay. I guess we don't need the bombers. Ticks 3 apiece managed to get to the backline here, blowing up all the E-converters for the air players' main production center right there. Super annoying to deal with that. When the when those pesky critters manage to make it into the backline, they can cause unparalleled amounts of damage in an itty-bitty package. Tremors have been so efficient here. Hold on, what's the kill count on these? 122 kill Tremors, my goodness. The heroes of Beyond All Reason, my goodness gracious. That is a crazy kill count for those Tremors. They've been hard at work this entire time. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, gunship shot out of the air right here. Another big nuke. Boom goes the base of Gamer Guy. Beautiful, beautiful nuke right there. Lovely, lovely stuff. A terrible souring moment for our poor Seafoam Green commander there, to watch it all go up in thermonuclear smoke as that anti-nuke was just barely not charged in time. Very, very close call right there, but at the end of the day, it means another base down, ruined by the thermonuclear explosions right here, and I can't believe it. Despite being pushed back on all fronts right here, the north, the middle, and, well, the southern side was held quite nicely until those minefields ended up killing the commander over here. But despite it all, managing to use that T3 transition to come back into this game and sweep out from underneath the blue team's nose, a crazy, crazy win. At this point, more and more metal extractors falling, the economy continuing to spiral right here for the red team, up to 800 metal per second, nearly double the energy and metal production right here of their competitors. E-converters fall right now, shutting off tons of metal production right now for the purple commander. Sharpshooter's not going to do well against the grunt spam as they run forward right here. Grunts also taking out the sharpshooters means that the Razorbacks can march forward unimpaired. And just like that, T3 has hit the southern side of the blue team, leaving them in pure shambles. Beautiful, beautiful match. Irish Parnells calls the resign vote. Despite a nice little pushback on the northern side, we do have those sharpshooters working hard. At the end, the blue team cannot stand under the weight of the economy of the red team. Beautiful, beautiful match right there. Really good stuff. Love to see that comeback, sticking it out to the very end here, and the red team's determination eventually winning them this game of Beyond All Reason. Lovely stuff and wonderfully played to everybody who played in this match. If you enjoy these matches, if you enjoy the daily cast of Beyond All Reason, I always encourage you to hit the like button down below. If you made it this far, I'm sure you probably enjoy Beyond All Reason as much as I do, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason.